I would like to have a pledge of allegiance, please. So let's stand. Justice for all. Okay, now, minutes of the meeting.
I have the meeting minutes from March 6, 2023. Has everybody had a chance to take a look at them and review?
Yes,
Yes.
we have.
All right. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the meeting minutes from our March 6, 2023 meeting.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. Sign,
First.
sign my big signature and pass it along.
Anybody recording? No?
We just
Okay,
need to
thank you.
disclose if anybody's recording or... Back for the invoice. This one.
All right, now we have tobacco violation A1 Goma appeal. Could I have the inspectors and tobacco agents for us, please?
I'm just gonna come over here, Lionel, if that's okay, so I can take my mask down?
Sure.
Okay. I had COVID, I'm over it, but I'm in
Pull
the
the
fight.
mask, pull the speaker towards you, please.
I'm sorry?
Just
Pull
pull
the
the
speaker.
microphone close to you
Oh,
so
okay.
they could hear you.
I'm past the 5th day, so I'm on the 5 days of wearing the mask, so
Okay.
I just wanted to be mindful of that.
Thank you. Glad you're feeling better.
Thank you. I guess COVID's still alive. So I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm Joan Hamlet, and I'm the Director of the Tobacco Control Alliance, and I'm also the Winchendon Tobacco Control Agent. This is Jody Briganti. She's a Winchendon Tobacco Agent through the Tobacco Alliance, and we do have a couple of new members that we haven't really met, which is a good thing, which means there's not been a lot of non-compliance in Winchendon, or we would have met a lot sooner than now. We've been in a relationship with Winchendon since 1994 as your designated agents, so we work for you to help enforce your local tobacco regulation along with any state laws that they designate the Board of Health, under the Boards of Health Control. And we are your tobacco agent, just as Jim is an agent for you. However, we're paid through a grant, so we're a free service to the town of Winchendon, and any fines or fees or anything collected through non-compliance goes into your Winchendon General Fund. So I just wanted to, briefly explain that to everybody. So we're not like an outside group. We're your agent, and we work for you. Before us right now, usually what happens in a hearing is we tell you what happened, and then they ask for an appeal, and then we make a recommendation, and then your board moves forward and makes a decision on, whatever may be going on. So Jody was the inspector, so she can tell you what happened on the inspection, and what happened on the inspection before on 11/11/2022.
Hi, I'm Jody Briganti, and I was passing through Winchendon. I live in Royalston.
No, the 11/11 was when
Oh,
you're gonna tell them first that you did the inspection and explained everything.
okay. So I did a new retailer inspection, and Keith
Could you
Kent.
speak into the mic?
Yeah,
I'm
could
sorry.
you, just move it closer. Sometimes it's not as
So I
sensitive,
did a new store retail education visit, and that is when we bring information, our annual retail ed packet, and answer any retailer questions. So I spoke with Amanda, your manager.
She's not
She's not there any
anymore.
longer.
Oh, sorry.
So
Okay.
I flipped like 20 employees in 3-month period.
So had an initial meeting with Amanda, and we went over the information in the packet, what tobacco control is, what we do, the services we offer. We're an agency about compliance, so it works for us when retailers know and have all of the information, and let them know that we are available to them as a resource to answer any questions that they possibly could have. So when I went into the store with the information, Keith Kent, who was on the board previously, was actually at the inspection with me. And I went over the information, explained that we do the retail ed visits, which is a once-a-year visit, and we also do compliance checks, which is when we send a youth into the store and they attempt to purchase tobacco products. And the fine for selling a product to a youth is $1,000. That's the fine scale now is $1,000 for the first with a 3-day suspension, and it goes up to $2,000 and then $5,000 for the third. So this is information that Amanda got, and she asked a lot of questions. She did explain to me at some point that you were going to open a sandwich shop, and possibly the counter was going to move.
I'm not gonna, no, I'm just gonna keep the counter, whatever it is.
Okay, but she did say, and we walked around the store, I looked into storerooms because that's part of the inspection process. You know, we go behind the counter and look for products, and so, you know, that was pretty much,
There was no violations at the time of this inspection.
none.
So they went over all the rules, the regulations, retailer responsibility, gave the packet, Amanda signed it as manager for the store and the owners to have.
No, you're okay with the mask, let's just bring it
The
kind of in
microphone?
front of you.
Yep,
Sometimes
okay.
it's, sorry, the audio in
So
here is.
in that inspection on 11/22, there was no violations, and we also gave a business card that has my cell phone number, so every retailer can reach me directly instead of an answering machine. And in the retail education packet letter, it gives all the emails, contact, and phone numbers, so after the inspection, if you have any other questions, you may contact us, and we'd rather be proactive than reactive, because one of the purposes of public health is to help people come into compliance, not catch them in non-compliance. So we really go out of our way to make sure that retailers, especially when they're a new store takeover, they have all the information they need moving forward, so they're not, you know, the goal is to help people come into compliance and do what they're supposed to be doing with tobacco control. And then what led to the second inspection,
So I live in Royalston, and I was making my way home, and I had a lottery ticket that needed to be cashed. So I went into, it's very easy to get into your store, so I went into cash, and I noticed as I walked in that there were loose bags of tobacco on, I believe they were fridges, refrigerators, or a counter, a high counter.
Yeah,
And then when I walked to the counter, there was packets of Zyn right there on the counter. Zyn is a nicotine
that's my mistake.
pouch. And so, and then there were rolling papers and cones, and you can see them all in the picture.
Right.
So I left the store. I left the store and called Joan, and she started, we have an iPad, this is where we record our
No, I believe
information.
you.
And so she started an inspection form for it. So I went back in and spoke with your clerk, Skylar. I believe her name was Skylar.
Yes.
Okay.
We're not anymore there. I hired new people now.
So I spoke to and explained to her that the products were in an improper place and that they needed to be put behind the counter where customers could not reach them. So she did that. And then we wrote the violation, and I called Joan. So
so the violation,
Just move it closer to you, sir.
Oh,
Just-
this one?
Yeah, you could just scoot it closer. Sometimes it doesn't always pick up if it's
Is it good now? Oh, all right.
terrible audio. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
That's okay. First of all, my name is Danny Jaha. I'm the owner of the gas station there, and when they gave all these, how the cigarettes should be placed and everything else. I run garages, and I have no idea about convenience stores whatsoever. So I moved those bags from the back and put them in the front. So I thought they sell more, but I didn't know that by law I shouldn't be doing that. So honestly, it was an honest mistake. Oh, sorry. Oh, okay. My mouth here is good. How is it? Good now?
Thank you, sir.
So that's all what I did. I just took him from here, I put him here, and I know I shouldn't do that, but I didn't know. And it happened that she stopped by and she was a customer and she saw that. That's it. Honest mistake, and I think it's not gonna happen anymore. But that's my fault. I did it. Instead of putting it, I did it in the front because I thought nobody can see it. It will sell more if I put it in the front. That's the whole thing of it. That's nothing else. And I'm sorry. I know I made a mistake, but I didn't know, honestly. I didn't have any idea about it.
Okay, so our recommendation.
This is my first store. Sorry to interrupt.
Okay.
This is my first store, and I learned how to do things now and then everything. And you are welcome to stop by again. I have new helpers. They're great people.
All
You're
right, will you-
welcome anytime to
will
stop
you
by.
let her finish talking, please?
Hey, sorry.
No, that's okay, that's okay. So I just wanted to explain to the board about the iPads, because we go way back with Lionel and Jim, but this is even new to Lionel and Jim. We now have state-issued iPads that they give us, and the iPad goes into the state database system, so when we pull into the store, it satellite tracks us and geo-tracks us right to the store coordinates, and then when we open up the inspection, it marks the satellite time to those coordinates, so it proves that we were there in the store doing the inspection. And that information gets shared with Department of Revenue, the lottery, federal inspectors on tobacco control, and state inspectors on tobacco control, so everybody can see the violation. We're your local inspectors, so even though we can see other people's violations, we only toll on what's happened here locally. However, whenever noncompliance happens, it triggers other agencies to come in and do extra inspections. And if there's too many inspections, they can pull the state license, and they can also pull your lottery license if there's too many local, state, federal violations for tobacco control. This is a new store, and I want to be mindful that there's 3 other stores in the community that this past 12 months received a $100 fine and a 3-day suspension. They didn't appeal it. They just paid it and took responsibility for it. And their violations were the town of Winchendon restricts blunt wraps, and they were selling blunt wraps, so they had a blunt wrap violation. So I understand that he's maybe a garage owner who's now being a convenience store owner and maybe misunderstood the local regulation. However, we did meet with a manager and left at the store that they signed for the whole packet of information. I don't know if it was never read by, it was read by the manager, but maybe not read and gone over with the owner. But these laws are, it's owner's responsibility. And you have to have a Department of Revenue. When you apply to the Department of Revenue, they have laws and regulations that you also have to find. So I feel that we did our job by educating the retailer, and there is a mistake here, and we want to move forward with this retailer, but for equity and consistency issues for the previous people that have paid this fine, you've had this regulation in place, a self-service display violation, used to be a local violation, but now it's a state law and it's an attorney general's regulation. So it's not just, a low level. And there was a significant amount of product out on the shelf. So I guess if you didn't have knowledge, you couldn't put it out on your shelf like that. It doesn't matter if it's a little or a lot, it's the same violation. But as your tobacco agent, we'd like to recommend that a responsible finding for the $100 in the 3 days, and we could reset the 3-day suspension for this weekend or next weekend. Your local regulation, and I brought a copy of it just in case you don't have it, your local regulation, for the first offense since 2018, this board had voted a different makeup, dynamic, but this board had voted that it would be a 3-day suspension for the first offense of said violation. So since 2018, anybody with a self-service display or a blunt wrap or the wrong pricing on a cigar has received that $100 and $300 fines. And it looks like since 2018, we issued approximately 13 violations. So, it is our recommendation. Your language under your section of the violation, there's language in there that says shall, not may. If you had may language, you have a little bit more latitude, but if you have shall language says that unless there's proof of inspection protocols not being followed, that you have to move forward with whatever your regulation says for one or two reasons. You believe the violation did not occur, or you believe that your tobacco agent made an error in the inspection. I don't think either one of those were proven today. So I just, when we make that recommendation, it's not meant to be punitive, it's meant to be, what does the law allow you to do, and I make that recommendation. Of course, you as a board, you vote on it, and we abide by whatever you want to move forward, but I do have to go back in and close the case and say what the outcome was and why.
To the chair, may I ask a question?
Do you need a copy of the regs?
Oh, the rights, yes.
I have a couple questions after too.
You want to call?
I just had a question. You had mentioned, I guess, the first offense since 2000, there was 13 violations? Since
No, not him, just,
2018?
since 2018, 13.
In general?
We've issued approximately 13 violations where other retailers had
I
a
see.
similar violation, and they served, this is a new owner, and this is his
Owner
first
the
violation.
Offense, correct?
Yes, we visited him on 11/11
I
and
apologize.
did the new owner inspection, and as a new owner, if we found violations, we would have said, oh, look, if this was not a new owner inspection, you need to change this, this, and this, or you would have been fined. So he had that initial education, that store location through their manager had the education visit that gave them all the information that they needed to comply moving forward. Then an off-duty inspector happened to stop in as a customer and saw a couple months later the local violation, but we're fining them under a local violation, but it's actually a state law violation and an attorney general regulation violation, because the laws all say you can't have it accessible to self-serve. It has to be behind the counter or in a locked case that's open and locked and relocked between every transaction.
Just another quick question. So you had said this is the new store, but there was 3 other stores? Is that-
Three stores in the past 12
That didn't
months
appeal?
that had a blunt wrap. It was a different violation, but it's still one of those.
Is this the same owner?
No.
Or, okay,
No,
completely
no.
different?
I was just
see.
giving you
We're
his-
just giving examples,
Yeah,
okay. I
just giving
wanted to
examples
double-check,
that, consistently, so there's an equity issue, like, once we open the door with an allowance, then it kind of creates a, you have to be prepared that now someone might come in and ask under the same circumstance, and you have to have, kind of equity in your decisions. And when you're using, in your local regulation, when you're using the language shall, it means if the violation occurred, you have to move forward with your penalty. And then if you're using may, then you can say, oh, I was on vacation, I wasn't around, I just hired someone, you have a little bit more latitude. But I did look at your language and, in advising the board what your options are, unless you believe it didn't occur, or you believe that we made a mistake in our inspection protocols, like, made an error, then, we recommend the responsible finding for the 100 and the 3-day.
Thank you. Do you have questions?
Yeah, I do. My question's to you, Mr. Gian. How long have you owned the store?
4 months, 4 months and a half.
4 months?
Yeah.
Okay, and did your manager ever come to you and show you the tobacco laws?
She didn't tell me honestly, no. If she did, I would never do it. I would never do it, honest truth.
Okay.
I don't go against laws and rules and regulations, but she didn't tell me. Go see the store, how the difference on the store and how beautiful it is now. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. I'm not saying they doing their job.
Never seen you there, that's why I buy
Yeah.
fuel there every now
I
and
have
then.
I have a garage. I work in Lincoln, Mass. I have another garage that I deal with, and this is my.
Garage?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. I work all my life in garage and cars, but this is something new to have, and
And my question's to Joan.
Joan or Jody?
In the future, I would suggest, maybe when dealing, not the big chains, but smaller, newer businesses, when you have to go in, it'd probably be a good idea to probably speak to the owner instead of someone that's just there saying they're gonna work there. If, as far as the person that actually gets the license for the business. That's just my opinion.
We actually try to go out of our way to make sure.
You know what I mean? To
Yeah,
speak with the
absolutely.
actual owner.
Lots of times, the industry landscape has changed, and it's very often that the owner is never in the store. But the law says it's still owner responsibility, like if you're buying a store, it's your responsibility to know what the laws are before you open. And I do
Right.
believe that we did do what we could to extend that to them. We also mailed packets as well, but then they can say, oh, I never got it in the mail, or whatever. So that's why we hand deliver and have that somebody.
You know what I'm
sign.
saying?
Yep,
though. You know,
absolutely.
you could have a
Yep.
lousy manager, you know,
Yep.
who doesn't.
There's a lot of
afford
staff
anything.
turnover, everybody has shortage of staffs and things like that, so we're definitely willing to go out on a limb. What we found now, it's extremely rare that somebody owns only one store. Lots of times they look like small neighborhood stores, and it turns out the owner owns 17 of them, or they own them in other towns, or they own them somewhere else in Mass. We just recently found out that one owner in Fitchburg owns over 71 stores between Leominster, and
Which
Fitchburg
isn't
and
the
the area.
case
Yeah.
here.
No, well, we don't know, because we didn't run his name in
What's
the
the
DOR
difference if
database,
I
so
own 100 gas stations?
yeah, no,
the
so I do
problem?
understand. Yeah, I'm just saying, in general, the landscape has changed, but we're definitely willing to do that with a new owner and making sure.
All I did is take it here, put it here. I have no clue, no idea. Then I take it from here, I said, sorry, I made my mistake, I'm honest. I don't go against the rules of regulation from this country, on this country. I live with honesty and I straightforward. I don't,
Do you buy, who do you buy, who's your distributor?
Jay Pollock.
J. Pollip, because J. Pollip and Cormac are the major distributors, and they know all the state laws, so
Okay,
I'm
let me-
surprised your distributor didn't tell you that you needed to
Oh,
move
okay.
it behind the counter.
Let me tell you something, when Jay Pollock, the vendor came this week for a Newport, the new Newport, that is not, it's not a menthol. They should have a paper with it. You know, I told him about it and he didn't tell me about it. And I had to get that paper to put it in the store that we can sell that type of a Newport in the store. So sometimes vendors, they don't do the right job.
Yeah, J. Pollip usually emails that to an email address within 10
He
minutes
didn't.
when
My
we're in the
uncle
store,
told me
so-
because he has a store, he told me, be careful. This Newport should have a piece of paper hanged on the wall. And when he came in, I said, he didn't tell me about that paper that I should have. And then he said, okay, I'll email it to you, and I printed up it on the wall.
Usually, the distributors place the product behind the shelves, so that's why I wanted to ask who the distributor was, because usually the big players, they know you cannot have it out on the counter. And, Jody has been a customer there, and it was not out in the counter, and then all of a sudden, it got placed out. And it wasn't just one, if you look at it, there's several locations where a majority of it is out. And I think what happens is retailers run out of behind-the-counter space, and then they kind of go to above-the-counter racks. And then we do have retailers that don't have enough space, so then they do locking cabinets near, and then the clerk goes over, unlocks, and relocks the cabinet. But, I mean, we are available to our retailers at any time. We're willing to work with them and get them the materials and the information they need. We've worked with the retailers. If a distributor is telling you think you could buy something and you're not sure, and there's not the law requires a manufacturer letter from the manufacturer letter saying that it's not flavored. If you don't have that letter, that's a $1,000 to $5,000 fine. Even if it's an unflavored product, but you're missing the letter. We don't fine retailers. We put it in the iPad, and we give them 3 business days to get those letters to us. So that's showing that we're not being punitive, even though the law says we're supposed to fine them. But we give the 3 business days because we say, well, maybe they have them here and the clerk just doesn't know, so we're gonna give the owner 3 days to get them to us. And usually J. Pollip and Cormac email them to us, and they show us evidence of their email file, and we mark them compliant in the state database. So that's another violation that we didn't fine him for, and he's supposed to show us that he has those in the store. And if you're a store owner and you own 10 locations, the letters have to be present in all 10 locations. You can't just have one for all 10 stores.
Any other information?
I just had another question, I guess, if I could. So, I guess you had mentioned the other stores, the other locations, et cetera. Some did an appeal, they just paid the $100 fine, and they also had the
3 days
the tobacco sales. So you're recommending the same thing, just, this gentleman here, Mr. Deja, is here to appeal it? Is that correct? I guess just to try.
Yeah, he asked for the appeal, because if you accept it, you just pay the fine, and then we call you the day before and remind you to remove your stuff from the shelf. The Friday morning of the inspection, we go in and make sure everything's in order, and then we send in a secret shopper throughout the weekend to adult secret shopper to make sure nobody was selling. The other stores just accepted, paid the ticket, and when they paid the ticket, we called to give them make sure they understood what they needed to do with the permit suspension, and everybody complied with the permit suspension.
Never told that.
Well, because you asked for an appeal, so we didn't.
You should have told me you have this case or this case. If you do appeal, you'll be punished this way. If you didn't do appeal, you're punished that way.
Well, it
I
does,
never get either or.
it does say in the letter, it gives instruction.
I
if
am
you-
new to this, and
Oh, okay.
I was with
So
the
did
pho-
you-
I
did
was
you-
on the phone with you several times, and you never told me these situations. I respect your all
so
your conversation.
I don't
and
remember
you
being on
never
the phone
told
with
me
you, so it might
that
have been Jody.
I have two punishment, one or either this or that. I would have paid the ticket because I live 1 hour and a half away from my kids, and they're gonna go to sleep.
Okay, so you weren't
I
appealing it?
understand you're trying to prove your point, and I respect that, but I told you a million times, it was an honest mistake, and that's what I appealed it. But
Right.
I would respect you more if you would have told me that I could have paid the $100 and get away, and you could have told me that, okay, next time, Danny, don't do this, don't do that. I understand. I will do it with all respect. I'm not gonna go against you with anything you ask me about, but I'm coming here to say that it's an honest mistake. I'm new to this business. Give me a break, and from now on, you're not gonna see any violations that goes with the cigarettes. In case of asking for ID or having the, whatever, you cannot sell this or can't sell that, or putting it in the right spot, I have no argument about it. I go with any rule you wanna put in front of me, I'll go with it. That's all. I mean,
Excuse
So,
me, anything you
I
got
was
to
a little bit confused because he didn't ask for anything, because usually you come for a hearing and they say, oh, I don't want to be found responsible. So am I understanding, sir, correctly? You misunderstood the letter and thought you had to come because you asked for the hearing?
my
And,
dear,
and
when
I
asked
don't
you-
know who you were talking to, but it hasn't been
I'm sorry, with all
me.
respect, when I talked to you on the phone a couple of times, I said, it's an honest mistake. I said, you appeal it and you should be fine. You say what you have to say in front of the gentleman,
Oh,
respectful
okay.
people, and we'll go from there, and it should be all right. And that's what you told me on the phone.
Well-
If you told me that I can pay the $100, I would have paid it and get
I
it
know.
done and over with. I don't have to, I mean, I'm not, with all respect to you, I have to drive 1 hour and a half. I'm gonna go to the North Shore, I live in North Shore. I mean.
So,
I'm
sir, if
not
I
here
can
to-
interrupt, so you're saying that you would have paid
I would
the
have paid it, of
$100
course.
and/or as well as accepted that you couldn't sell any tobacco sales for the 3 days?
She didn't give me any option, you know, this is all the rules, all these rules she's talking about, I have nothing, I don't know nothing about it, nothing.
I think there's
Zero.
a misunderstanding
being
here, because the
respectful.
letter
I think-
explains
I'm being
I
it.
think-
respectful and
if I-
honest, I'm
if
not
I
here
can
to come in
interrupt
a
just
big
one more
fuss out
time.
of $100 violation.
So I believe, to my understanding, it looks as though you can either just avoid, whether you want to appeal, you need to come before us, the Board of Health, and
Exact-
plead your case.
Exactly.
To see if we could waive the fee and/or the time, or, make arrangements or based on their recommendations. However, or you can just automatically pay the $100 fee, as well as, to stop the tobacco sales for the 3 days. So, to my understanding, you're saying that to avoid traveling and to be away from your family, you are accepting the,
No, I'm not saying that.
or willing to
Mrs.
pay the
Tina.
$100 fee in that
Mrs.
time
Santos.
period, is that correct?
Mrs. Santos, all what I'm saying, I'm coming here because it's my first mistake. I've been
Right.
in the business
Yes,
for
sir.
3 months. All I did is move that bag of cigarettes, put it here.
No, I
That's
understand
all I
that.
did. Nothing else. I didn't sell it for underage, or I didn't sell like something I shouldn't sell. All I did is move the bag from here, I put it here. I thought people will see it more and will sell more.
No, I
was from
agree.
from
Everybody
a
makes
business point of
mistakes,
view. But,
I agree.
but to do against her will or against the state, I would never do that in any situation. You know, this is all I'm coming here for. But,
No, I agree,
you know what I'm
but if
saying?
I could
That's it.
interrupt again, just, what I,
That's all about it. I'm not here to.
I understand, I
know she
appreciate you
wants to
coming
do her
here and
job well.
explaining.
She's proven her point that she's doing a great job. God bless her, you know, I'm not saying anything about her. But all I'm saying is, my first 3 months in this business, she talked to the manager divorced her husband, and she left the country. I don't know where she did, she went.
She's no
She-
longer with your company,
She's
is
not
that
anymore,
correct?
yeah, she's not anymore there. I have 2 gentlemen, they're doing a great job. I changed like 10 employees in 3 months. They gave me anxiety, stress, heart pressure, all the kind of disease and illness they gave me.
It's,
Employees now,
I,
a lot of different-
But thank God now, because I pray so much, God gave me 2 good helpers now, and they're doing a great job. I'm sorry for the million times.
Yeah.
God bless America. I do whatever this country wants me to do, nothing else.
Excuse me, sir. So Judy, so, can I ask, I guess, has been instances that, the owners were in violation and have come before a appeal, and what was the outcomes?
This board
just-
historically has found every retailer responsible. Historically. And we've been doing this since 1994, and we started having, you know, regulations around 1998, local regulations around 1998. And we've had various, Jim has been here the whole time, but at one point, we had a different person that worked 2 days a week as a sanitarian, I think, years ago.
Before me was Steve Kalishman.
Yeah, yeah.
And he was here when
we've had
this whole
various
thing-
different members of the board over the years. And, you know, responsible finding. Now, whether your board, depending on your reg, this is the 2018 reg, not all regs had suspensions, and suspensions got added. The regs had been amended probably 7 times, and each time added things and whatnot. So when I talked about the violations, you used to have just a fine for the first violation, and in 2018, you added the 3-day permit suspension, because at that point, the board felt, if I remember correctly, the board felt like a lot of education has occurred, so retailers should know. The state had done a lot of education, locally, we did a lot of education, so it really cut down, that 3-day suspension on the first offense cut down first-time violators,
I'd like to see.
so.
So I guess another question I would ask, do you guys come in or schedule a time to come in and demonstrate the correct, you know, go over the regulations and what needs to be done and how they need to be set up or, you know, closed in and locked up, et cetera? You go over all of the details so you make an appointment. Now, do you guys have?
It's not an appointment.
Okay,
No,
so
we
do you just
usually,
come in?
yeah, we usually come, we come in and ask to speak to the owner or manager. This lady identified her as a manager. If she identified her as a clerk, we would have made an appointment with a manager or an owner, but she identified herself as a manager.
Has there ever been instances that they've like either emailed or sent, you know, hard copies to the owners? Just because, again, you say that a lot of the
Yeah,
owners
yeah,
are
lots of-
not on
Yeah, lots of
premises.
times.
And a lot, you know, I understand the
Right.
managers, you know, are representing the company and are technically supposed to go to the owners. But if the owners aren't on premises and the manager, you know, leaves and so forth, you know, there are instances people just kind of take off. Is there any way to send them
Any
to the
retailer that's
owner to
ever
make
called
sure
us
that
or
the owners
emailed
have
us?
received it?
Yes, any retailer that called or emailed us or asked questions, we go above and beyond to make sure they get the answers to all their questions. And we have retailers calling us regularly. We got probably 35 retailers calling, from this area contacted us, can we have these new Newports that just came out? We don't want to, even though our distributor says we can, we want to be sure. So we have working relationships with all of our retailers. And again, haven't had this problem in years with any other retailer, and we've had a lot of change of ownerships in the last 5 years in Winchendon businesses. So, it used to be the same owners, but in the last 5 years, the owners have changed significantly, and a few of your places have gone out of business.
Excuse me, do you have a copy of the
The law.
rules and regulations we wrote,
Yep.
we signed, for my board member to see, please?
So it's section P is your violations. It says in the letter, but here's your violations in the language. I mean, I do,
Can I have one of those, please?
I can give you one after, I think I only brought 3, so as soon as they're done, I can give you one, it's a copy of the local.
This is all the rules and regulations on it?
This is for Winchendon, he gave,
Yeah, please, if I can have
Yeah,
one,
for
I'd
the
really
town of
appreciate
Winchendon.
it.
And, you know, I mean, I guess what I'm feeling here is, we have a retailer who didn't intend to violate, but did, but almost every retailer who has a violation could possibly say that. So, I mean, our recommendation could be, you could do a responsible finding for $100, and then you could continue the suspension without a finding, pending he doesn't have the tolling period in the state is 36 months. Do the permit suspension, pay the 100, the permit suspension would be continued without a finding for 36 months, but if he has a second violation, he has to serve the 3-day before we start the next fine and the 7-day. So then it's a $100 fine. He doesn't, if it was truly just an honest mistake, and he's a good actor, and, you know, a good retailer, not actor, I meant to say retailer, and a good retailer moving forward, now that he understands his responsibility, it would be fine. So that would be a recommendation, because then it's still a responsible finding, it's a low-level fine, it saves the permit suspension, and as long as there's not a second violation in the tolling period, everybody's good to go.
Okay.
Because that's not a not responsible finding, it's consistent with the regulation.
What is your thoughts? What is the board's?
Can I say something, please?
Go ahead, sir.
Go ahead.
All right. If I sold a cigarette to a young, I mean, underage, or sell something I shouldn't be selling, or in my new business, I'll agree with you totally, okay? But here, you're gonna understand that this is not just, if I put something here for 1 day, I mean, shouldn't be a violation. You should have told the guys there, shouldn't be here, you should put it back, because it's not, if you talk about it, it's not a violation if, as much as if I sell cigarettes to a young kid, or I sell something that I shouldn't be selling, then I'll say, okay, it's a violation, and even if I'm new, I shouldn't be doing that, because this is a violation. But when you put a product here and you put it there, and like in 4 feet distance, I mean, for a new guy like me that doesn't have anything, he's not informed of nothing, I don't see it, it's a really violation in the value of it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I
didn't
understand
sell
what you're
for a
saying.
young, I didn't sell, God forbid, that product I shouldn't be selling. It's only moving this product from here, I put it here. That's it.
Right, but,
Nothing
sir,
else.
I guess, I understand where you're saying if you're just moving it and whatnot.
And I
but
haven't been
guess-
informed.
If you could let me finish,
Go
just, that's okay. I would say that I understand the 2 examples aren't really kind of
A permit not
the
renewed.
same. Two wrongs don't kind of make a right. Like, obviously, yes, selling to a minor is not correct. You know, it's against law. It is a violation. However, yes, I understand where you're saying just moving it 4 feet, but we're actually putting it close to self-service in regards to somebody can come up and grab it. That's why, you know, there's these laws that in violation, or you know, regulations, et cetera, to kind of make sure that our, you know, younger generations and/or anyone are not able to just kind of grab them. So I understand where you're saying, you know, you've just kind of moved it. It would be one thing if you kind of move it from here to here, but then if you're moving it onto the counter, it's very easy accessible.
It's not on the
if-
counter.
If
It
you
was on-
understand what I'm trying to
It wasn't on the
get.
counter, it was on the top of a fridge.
No, there were,
But some of the pictures, if
Okay,
we can go look
man,
back,
I
they're
don't
right
wanna,
on the
I don't wanna
counter.
argue much. Honestly, I trust you, I respect you.
Oh, I see.
Do your own judgment on it. I have to go home. I'm so late, honestly. Do your own judgment, no problem, I respect that. Do your own judgment on it, and I'm willing to do it. I gotta leave home, I'm sorry. I respect you all, and I respect your judgment on it. I gotta go home,
Do you
I'm
want,
sorry,
do you want to think?
I have to be
or
home.
You want time to think, or what?
you know?
So, what it,
I mean, it's not a big deal, but it is, it's a mistake, I understand.
I I understand that, sir, but you did ask for this hearing, and we are here to
I
go
am
over it,
here, my dear,
So I
but
understand.
I mean-
So, I mean, we'd love to give you the time and.
I know, I mean,
understand and
believe
so
me,
forth, but
it's
you're
doesn't
saying
need.
You need to kind of go home, like you have to
I
leave.
respect
like,
that, but
we're giving the-
it's
you the
not,
time
it's
to
not
review.
really
So
a big
let's make
deal.
a-
If I
let's
think
make a
about it.
decision
Okay.
You
On,
go first.
So,
is he or is he not guilty as was found? I mean, he had the tobacco on the counter, you can plain and see in the violations, right? And according to law, whether he knew it or not, the law is the law.
Ignorance of the law is no
Ignorance of the law
excuse.
does not excuse him.
no, I agree.
So I would have to say my vote as.
It's too bad we don't have any leeway with it, that's all I'm saying.
We don't. That's why we put that safeguard in there, so we wouldn't be waving back and forth.
But every situation is different.
Right,
There's
that's
a
what
lot
we're
of
hearing
things in life that are
tonight.
different. Circumstances are different. So what would your vote be?
I have to agree, but Jody, did you mention that there was another recommendation or possible alternative that they could do the $100 fine and then within, I think, 60 days or
36,
whatnot?
36 months. He could-
36 months is
could
the
turn
state
around.
Would
tolling
have
period.
to,
Without
they could
pay-
have any kind of pop-in visit and whatnot. to find
So
out.
they would automatically serve the 3-day, and it wouldn't be appealable, and then they would go on, the second offense would be what, I think your reg says 7 days or 14 days, whatever your reg says for the second offense.
So they would pay the $100 fee without the 3-day suspension or, stopping of the sale, and then within that 36 months.
Within the 36 months, I
If
want
there
you
is
to
another
understand this.
violation,
No problem,
then
no problem,
that
that's
good?
fine, that's fine,
If-
that's
I
fine.
tried.
he would have to
That's okay, that's
do
okay,
the
it's all right.
3-day
Right.
suspension as well as
Right.
possible further
I would,
fines,
I would
correct?
like from you, if
Right.
I can meet with you at the gas
But I-
station.
Let
Right.
us
And-
explain this.
I'm sorry.
We can find this where you can, if you agree, board,
Yes.
okay? $100 fine, all right?
That's fine, that's
Payable, and we'll waive it at 3 days, but if you're caught doing anything like this again, within 3 years, right, 3 years, you'll automatically get a 3-day waiver, you no-sell tobaccos,
Gotcha.
and then you get a 7-day no tobaccos, and a fine again.
So
That's fine,
it's
that's
officially called a continue without a finding for 36 months,
That's-
pending no future
That's what I was looking for.
violations in a 36-month period.
And you should probably double check on the second offense too. I seem to think
Second
it might.
offense says 7 days.
Does it
Because
say 7 days?
I-
Okay.
Yeah.
I kind of felt bad for him in a way that I've seen
10 total.
numerous, because I do go there, we get fuel there. And I have seen different people every single time in his thing, and since he only owned it for a short time.
Right.
Thank guys
And it-
came in and
And
leave.
his blatant display kind of screams he didn't really know.
Right.
That he didn't have cigarettes there, but he had other things there.
Before,
Well, yes, I agree. I mean, while I
It was-
understand the law is the law, but then again, I mean, like you said, ignorance is bliss. I suppose
Yeah.
we just, I think if the initial meeting did not include the owner, the one that's truly responsible, and was not notified or confirmed that he received this regulation and information, then.
He is the responsible party.
He is the
but
responsible
I
party,
just
and-
think on the smaller businesses, I think you should speak with the owner, right? It just,
Before you vote, I just wanted to make a couple of notations.
Okay.
I do understand, and we've been doing this for a long time, anytime tobacco control issues a violation, we certainly understand the impact on a small business owner, and a large business owner can't afford it either. You have a large business owner that has, Cumberland Farms has 1,000 stores, they all make one mistake at $1,000 apiece, you're looking at a lot of violation. But what it is it's like, for instance, alcohol. An owner would never be able to say, I'm just a small liquor store, I sold to the minor, or I have an illegal, a product with too much alcohol content in it. So, you're looking at tobacco laws kind of keeping it the same. So, but I'm in agreement that the goal isn't to put anybody out of business, it's to help people come into compliance.
right.
Before
And-
you make this decision, you're setting precedent now, so on the first offense, anybody who appeals their violation, you would have to do it. So I'd like to make a recommendation that this would not be, you couldn't do it on a sale to a minor or the flavor restriction that's the heavy state, you would have to stick with the normal fines. And that, remembering that if somebody comes in and asks for this type of grace again, you set precedent on that, but that, make a recommendation that the board never consider it for a 2 or more, that this would be only on a first day,
Right.
3-day, when it's the lower level, the pricing, the blunt, because now someone might go, oh, I'm just gonna come in and appeal now and try to get rid of that 3-day. But you would have the history to show, oh, this is, we've fined them before, because we've been bringing that in, and it's in the violation usually if they've had another violation. But it does set a precedent when you make an allowance for one,
But
for your
Are you
future.
talking, you're talking about local violations?
Local
not-
violations.
Not the state?
Yes, that's why I said no flavor, no youth access. The ones that are 1,000 to 5,000, you don't have the latitude to reduce those. But you do in your local reg.
But bigger chains train their employees and they make them sign things to say you will not do this and,
Yeah.
they're trained.
Yeah.
They watch
We- well,
movies.
and we
They,
do-
they have a policy.
Yeah, we have some pretty good small business owners with very little non-compliance history for years in Winchendon. So, I mean, it can't be an excuse just because you're little, because when you get if you're gonna choose to sell an age restriction, if he sells lottery will never accept, I was the owner, my manager didn't know when we did something wrong. I mean, that lottery would be in there in a heartbeat and pull that license and not even give it a blink or a thought. So, you gotta kinda look at when you take on the responsibility to make a profit off an age-restricted product, you have to know your laws and know what you're doing. And, a self-service display, the history on that is the tobacco industry would tell them to put it on the counter and they would get a slotting fee of X amount of dollars per month, so who cares if the kids stole them? The store owner didn't lose any money on it. So that's the history of why the Attorney General's office, and there's the state laws, in addition to the local law, to say, put it behind the shelves, so the kids can't just swipe it. And the history of slotting fees still exists today. The industry does pay retailers of certain volume money.
Well, he doesn't have all his liquor behind the shelf, I
Yeah,
can see.
yep,
And,
yep.
I mean,
Yeah.
I see his cigarettes all behind the shelf,
All my
except
cigarettes were behind the shelf, everything was behind the shelf.
the tobacco, loose
papers.
tobacco and
It's the
papers.
Zyn, it's the Zyn nicotine pouches that were right on the counter by my left hand.
And those are very attractive to teenagers, the Zyn.
You think
So-
I would
Like
give it to a
vapes.
teenager?
Because they're, well, the vapes are too, but the Zyn, a lot of them use
Easy
it like the,
accessible is where they can
a
go.
lot of baseball players want the
Is what they're
Zyn.
trying
Rather go out the
to talk
door
about.
with
I mean, you could be looking
call the
down,
police on
grabbing
them.
something, and they can easily kind of,
I mean,
Yeah. I
doesn't
mean,
work
I
that
think,
way, I mean, that's just stealing.
yeah.
right.
I just wanted to just give all the points, and again, because we don't want to be punitive, and we don't want to be harsh, but we also want to be fair and consistent.
I mean, believe me, I wouldn't let any mistake happen in any organization or any business I work at. I would never accept any mistake. I mean, your job is a job and I respect it. I wanna put these rules and regulations,
Discuss.
but this is,
Sure.
To make
this is not a great violation.
Did,
They just,
question for you. Have you ever had any issues with that address?
oh, no, but they've only been here for 4 months.
Have
but-
you ever inspected
but,
it?
yeah, I would suggest that whatever we do, like Joan said, we have to be consistent. We have to be consistent with everybody, or else we get ourselves in trouble.
This was the former Gateway store, and the Gateway store had very inconsistent non-compliance. We had fined them multiple times, and they had lost their license a couple of times. So that location has historically been a problem.
But I'm a new owner.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. The new owner bears
3
no
months.
responsibility.
I
For
don't
3
take any
years.
Right.
mistakes, my
We
dear.
clean the records, we close the record out, he gets a brand-new record,
Yeah.
and he gets a brand-new
I
record.
said that this, I made it myself and it was my mistake, you know
Yep.
what I'm saying? I
Yep.
did it in my own hands. Even the help that I hired through the 4 month, they drive me through hell. And you spoke about the lottery, one of the girls there was there.
Situation's different.
She did a big mistake with me in the lottery, and the lottery people gave me a break. Because I'm an honest guy and wouldn't allow that. And the lottery people never stopped or never took my lottery license, because the girl that was there working with me, she did a bad mistake, I would've put her in jail, all right, and the state would put her in jail,
I'm good with that.
all
Did
right?
they,
And they let it go, just
Yeah,
to let you
was it
know.
was it a monetary and you had to pay the
Those 7
difference?
days.
I didn't
3 days.
pay nothing.
And 7.
The lottery understand me that I'm an honest guy, I'm trying to make a better operation there.
If that's what he wants.
My dear, help is bad these,
Sir?
for the most part.
So we're not having back and forth conversations. Before we had, Lionel, if you don't mind, could I just ask another quick question?
Sure.
So, just lost my train of thought, oh my goodness. So, go ahead, because
If,
I wanted to say something, but I just lost it, I'm sorry. Okay, no, within the 3 years, like the probationary period, so to speak, I guess, is there any set dates? Well, not set dates, obviously, you know, it's a kind of pop-in kind of type thing, because you don't want to be, you know, given, you want to come in as a surprise visit, so to speak, or just kind of check in to see how things are going. Is there any set times, or not set times, but I guess how many times, I guess, would you say you go in within the 3 years and, you know, check
We go
in
into the
and so
stores
forth?
approximately, we do youth access inspections 2 to 4 times a year, depending on compliance. So if we go in 2 times a year and nobody sold to the minor, we don't do a reinspection. But let's just say they didn't sell to the minor, but somebody complained to your office and you asked us to do an extra one. So they could get up to 2 to 4 youth access inspections. And then retail ed, we go in right now once a year and then re-inspect if we have non-compliance, or we inspect based on a community complaint or board concern. So the retail ed is only once or twice a year. This happened to be, no, it wasn't even a scheduled inspection. An off-duty inspector was a customer. And she had, you know, she comes through Winchendon, and she frequents a lot of Winchendon businesses going to and from Leominster coming in from Royalston.
So, any violation, it's for any tobacco violation?
It's
we'll
any
bring back the
violation of
10,
your local rep.
Or just for this violation?
No, so if all of a sudden he has a blunt wrap violation or he sells to a minor, that's a violation of your regulation. So,
And that would
yeah, so,
go back on his
Yes.
suspension on this?
yes, and that's like. the-
Okay, I just want to make sure
Yeah.
he's aware of that before
Yes.
we vote on this.
Yes.
$100 fine. I want to make sure I'm going to explain it to you.
I got it, you told me.
We'll waive the days for a period of 3 years, as long as you don't have any violations.
I hope not, I hope not.
I hope not either, because other than that,
You know?
you will get the 10 days of suspension plus a fine.
I'll try to put my rules and whatever, she can stop by anytime, meet me there, both of them, you're welcome.
And
I
honestly-
would love to take your, huh?
I was gonna
I will
suggest
tell
that.
you,
Come over, let's meet together and,
I would also like to suggest too, before we take the vote, this is just something that we're kind of brainstorming or talking.
Go ahead,
To make sure that if you have any employees or any new employees, that they are fully aware.
That's what I
Because
was just-
again, you are not always in that store. So you are ultimately responsible. If an employee moves it, or something kind of gets, like a new product comes in and they put it in the wrong place, they need to be trained. They need to know how serious this is, that they need to know that where they need to be placed and how they need to be secured.
more
educate,
than welcome to stop by anytime.
Are
educate,
you understanding that? I guess,
educate
for
your
your
new
employees, you need to
employees.
make sure.
Educate yourself, you know, I might say, you know, get a copy of the rules,
Yes.
and you're a new business, I understand that, and the way these rules are, there's not much leeway, so
I understand.
you know, educate them like you would your liquor, make sure you ID, make sure,
No,
you
of
know what I
course,
mean?
of course, no, I
Make
have
sure
great, I have great
nothing-
help now. thank
Nothing
God.
with nicotine in it, no rolling papers, nothing.
No
All behind the
tobacco
counter.
products.
do
Make
I-
your displays behind, up higher if you want,
Everything's
do I
but
have a
behind.
motion?
From that time, believe me, everything in the back, nothing goes in the front at all.
Okay, I just,
Excuse me, do I have a motion?
wanna make the motion?
Yeah, you gotta make a motion.
Motion for $100 fine and suspend the 3-day suspension for a period of 3 years,
Continue without a finding.
Continue,
Yeah, continue on a
finding.
finding for the local regs, right?
When should I pay the?
And make sure
when should
that
I pay the
our,
fine?
your employees are,
Yes, yes.
very
They can welcome,
trained
they
and
welcome
aware.
anytime, believe me, every day
we
stop
still
by.
need to make a vote, but.
It's
we'll-
not a
we'll
matter of that.
discuss
I just got
Every day
his,
stop by.
I just got his email address because the Department of Public Health has a clearinghouse.
Excellent.
And it has an online module that they can click on, and he can do an owner training. And then there's a short 20-minute training that every employee who works for him that can do.
That's perfect.
And it's a free training
That's
program, so
what I was
I'm gonna
looking for,
email
and
him.
that's what the bigger ones
I
do.
wish I met with you, myself, honestly, with not anybody else. but-
I'm thinking he didn't think they were
this is the packet
prohibitive
So Glenn,
products, is what I was.
if we can, we're finishing up the motion.
Said that she
Glenn
was going to give it
Folk
to you.
made the motion, and I will second it.
You second it?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
When should I pay that fine? When, where, who?
You
give
can bring
3
it into my
business days,
office.
3 business
Yeah,
days.
to the town of Winchton.
I'll see you on Wednesday.
Do you have the letter, sir? It's
Which
dated,
one?
the first letter that you got from, February 15th. It states that you may request it, but you can also, send, there's also another letter from the Control Alliance that you have the,
Those?
it has the address, so this particular address on the first floor is the
I
Board of
know,
Health
don't
agent.
worry, I'll go to
office
James.
The 3-year tolling period doesn't go back starting today. It goes back
Back to
starting
the first offense.
January 29th, so that's already 3 more months that, he wasn't inspected. We do have a, sorry. We do have a reinspection on the books because this is a violation, so it triggered a reinspection. We don't do reinspection when somebody's in appeal because it's just kind of piling on. So in the next 30 days, there'll be an unannounced reinspection, but that's regular protocol.
No problem.
So you understand that they will be re-inspected within 30 days?
They can come today, tomorrow, after tomorrow, next week, every day, sleep there, whatever they want, they can go.
Right, thank you.
Don't worry about it.
Be good.
But honestly, it's an honest mistake. I did it myself from hands.
And then
I don't know nothing about this business, not a clue. This couple
Oh,
weeks,
there
the
we
last
are.
couple weeks, that 3 employees left me, boom, out. I fired them all. And I worked there for 10 days, open, close, and I know everything about it now. But thank God I had a beautiful, excellent employees now. I'm so lucky.
Excellent, good.
You
So
know,
going forward, we shouldn't
Employees
have
are
any
tough.
issues.
Sometimes they put you
Good to
in
hear.
that situation.
What I'm
Okay.
gonna suggest, though,
Thank
is
you.
that you call Joan, and
Joan.
she will set up a time for me to come over to meet
Close
with
the
you.
case.
You're welcome.
And then, but just the time that you're going to be there.
Live around here?
I do, so,
Yeah, well,
you know, if you're up on the
I'm
weekend.
always Wednesdays afternoon, from 2 to 4, Fridays, Mondays.
Okay,
Monday,
can we
Wednesday,
go on
Friday,
with our
we stop
normal
by.
business? We
Because I
got more
showed
business.
Amanda quite a,
Sorry, they want to take that out.
If-
We got more business.
We have a couple more business on the
That's what I'm
agenda,
saying.
so
Yeah,
thank you,
yep,
sir,
you
for
guys can
coming,
talk
and we
outside.
appreciate your time, and please, good luck, and
Sorry again.
Anything else?
Yes.
thank you. Thank you very
Lionel and
much for coming.
Lionel and I talked that I'll come to the May meeting.
Perfect.
And we'll just kind of go over just like the history, I'll get all the stats, I'll send out a report by email that you can look at ahead of time, because by then you'll have another new member, at least one, and that way we can kind of, you know, just spend 15, 20 minutes. I can send you a packet, the history of Tobacco Alliance. I can give you the 36-month inspection history for the past 36 months, tell you what we've done, who we've worked with, and what's going on, and then I can answer any questions in general.
And next time, a little history, you know,
Yes.
like, if you would've said you owned something else.
Yeah. So
And
we're
a
gonna have the
little-
history appointment. I mean, so many changes have happened since COVID, and Winchendon was one of the original 14 boards in 1994, and I have 44 boards now, so all in Central Mass. So you're down 2 members, so I think by May, 1 is elected, and I'm not sure if somebody will be appointed, and then that way we can kind of start fresh.
Well, hopefully
our
we'll
first
have a new
Monday of
member right
May.
there.
I'm sorry?
Hopefully our next new member will be right there.
Okay, all right, well, there
Have
you
an
go.
interested party.
So you have a little introduction to tobacco control.
All right,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, nice to meet you. Thank you for coming.
Now, food permits.
Yes.
We've temporary ones first.
All right, next on the agenda, food permits, we have several temporary food permits, as well as a few annuals. I'm gonna go over all of the temporary food permits, and we could approve them all at once if the board, would like, okay. So I'm gonna start with permit number 2317. This is for Skips Jelly, and they paid the fee of $25. They are gonna be a temporary food truck, for the Fall Festival. We also have next food permit is 2318 for Bird's Nest Italian Street Food. They've paid the $25 temporary food permit fee, and they will also be a food truck. To be honest, I believe it is going to be at the Winchendon Community Park. The next two are the same company, but they have two different dates. So the first food permit number is 2319 and 2320. They're both for Sauced and Tossed Chicken Company. There is a $25 fee each, totaling $50 that has been paid. And the 2319 will be for the date of 6/23/23. The permit number 2320 will be for the date of 10/7/23. And these will be at events at the Winchendon Food Truck at the Gar Park and the Fall Festival. We also have next food permit 2321, Godfather Vending LLC DBA, the Dogfather, excuse me. There was a $25 fee that was paid for the temporary food permit, and they will be at the Winchendon Community Park. There is the next permit is 2322 for the paid fee of $25 for the same company, different food truck name. So the name is Dogfather Vending LLC, DBA Breakfast Bus / Mac Daddy. They have paid the $25 fee, and they will be at the, I believe they'll be at the food truck for one of the events at the food truck event. The next, 2323, is the permit number, Dogfather Vending LLC, DBA Easy Street Tacos. $25 fee has been paid, and this is also going to be at the food truck event at the Winchendon Community Park. The next temporary food permit is 2324 for Trolley Dogs, and the $25 fee has been paid, and they will be on June 23rd to 23 at the Winchendon Community Park. We have one other temporary food permit, which is 2325, Pops Sweet Hearts, HARTS LLC. There was a $100 permit paid, only because they will be at several, they're an ice cream truck, and they have two events, so they paid the annual fee versus each $25. So the next permit is 2326 for Potato, and they are a temporary food permit. They paid their $25 fee. They are going to be at the Fall Festival on October 7th of 23. Next food permit, 2327. Same company, same food truck, potatoes, $25 was paid. and they will be also at the Fall Festival. They, on October 7th. There is 2 for Uncle Joey's Cannoli, and the food permit number is 2328 and 2329, 2 separate dates, so they've paid $25 for each fee, with a total of $50 for a total. The 2328 will be for the October 7th Fall Festival date, and the 2329 will be for the June 23rd, June 23rd, 23 date. We have the next food permit, temporary food permit, 2330, Shiskaberries of New England, and the temporary food permit paid was $25, and they will be at the June 23rd event. So that is the total of the temporary food permits. I have a couple annuals, but if I could make a motion to accept temporary food permit 2317, 2318, 2319, 2320, 2321, 2322, 2323, 2324, 2325, 2326, 2327, 2328, 2329, and 2330. Several.
Jim, any issue? All
They're all set to go.
set to go? I'll make a motion to accept those following
All
permits.
in favor?
I'll
Did I get a
second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye?
Well, I made the motion, so Glenn seconded
You
it.
seconded it.
Yep.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
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 The chair says aye. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to just start
Put your scratch down and we'll go from there.
signing and passing those ones down
You
to
gotta
you.
read this signing. Just keep them at the end,
Yep.
please.
So just so you know that there are 2, for example, sauced and tossed chicken. There's 2 of them, so you need to sign both.
Okay.
Glenn, you see, they're together, but you just sign one,
Okay.
you lift it, and sign 2, the second. They were both approved. They both need a signature.
And that's because they're doing the food,
They have the 2
And-
separate events, yes. One is
They're
for
doing
the
the Fall
June
Fest.
23rd, and one is for the Fall Festival on October 7th. So there's 2 of those for there. These 3 are the dog fathers. Each have a top
The dog
cover sheet to sign.
You're gonna have more dogs than people. I had to throw that in there. There's 3.
The rest of those. Would you like me to continue while you're signing, or would you like me to wait until you're finished?
keep
Okay.
We can hear you.
So these are the remaining for annual food permits. The is that me? Sorry. Food permit number 2331, for Not Just Produce on Central Street. There was a $100 food, a retail food with food service permit fee was paid. And there was one note stating that out of code, one item, which was the Wishbone blue cheese dressing for $8 times 2. The next food permit, 2332, Broadview Assisted Living. That is a food service permit. The $100 fee has been paid. And there were no notes or violations. The last but not least, The Taco Dude, not the, but the, Thee, is the mobile food truck, and they paid $25 initially plus $75, which makes the total of $100 for an annual permit, since they have several dates that they will be here with their food truck. Okay. So I'd like to make a motion, if I could, for the retail food, the two retail food services, permit number 2331 and 2332, for Not Just Produce and Broadview Assisted Living.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
And just because this was the food truck, I just wanted to keep this separate. I'd like to make a motion to approve permit number 2333, which is the mobile food truck permit. That will be several dates here in Winchendon.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. And that's it.
And that is the end of the food permits. I do have an invoice. The invoice is for our Board of Health recording secretary. This is for the March 6, 2023 meeting minutes for the total of $75. We all approved and reviewed the minutes. We just need to make a motion to approve the invoice for Janelle Skorganiski.
Make a motion to approve $75 for the recording secretary.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Now, we
Okay.
have,
So I'm gonna just pass that along, if you could sign up on the top there. So that's it for me.
well, we have to meet the newest proposed,
Next on the agenda,
was to meet Brandon.
we have Brandon Fornia here. If you'd like to come on up.
Good evening.
Good evening. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. So I've lived in town for about 2.5 years now. I moved up here from Rhode Island. I have been on the zoning board of appeals in town for about a year now. And I want to be able to do more. I love the town. I love it here. I love the people, the businesses. I just want to be able to do my part.
Excellent. Good to see you.
Thanks for stepping up.
Well,
I told him, thanks for stepping up. I mean,
Absolutely.
I'm happy to.
You know,
Happy
it's-
to.
it's hard to get people to step.
it is.
In this town, it's hard to have somebody volunteer. It's
lived here all
usually
my
the
life.
same
I
old,
just
same
gotta-
old, and we get quite,
We gotta
Overwhelmed.
remember, we are volunteers.
Yep.
right.
We're here for the same purpose, for the betterment of the community and the people in the town. That's all that matters.
Yep.
Absolutely. So Jim, may I, or to the chair, through the chair to Jim, if I can ask, we had sent in the vacancy notification and letter to our Board of Selectmen. Is that correct?
Yeah, so if the board wishes, we send the recommendation to the selectmen, and then we can find out from Mary if the Board of Health and Selectmen both sit down at a joint meeting to vote in a new appointed member, or if the selectmen are just going to take the Board of Health's recommendation and then they vote separately. I'm not sure. I think it has to be a joint meeting, but
I
I
thought
will
so
defer
too,
to
but-
Mary on that one.
Okay.
Okay, could you,
Do you need our recommendation?
I-
Sorry, Lionel.
could
Yeah,
you
I-
check with Mary and find out exactly what she wants?
Yes, yeah,
You need our recommendation one way or another, right?
correct.
Correct.
Okay.
How do you vote?
Aye.
Aye. I'd like to,
should
or
make
I'd
a
like to make a motion to accept the letter of interest or the participation for the vacant seat on the Board of Health for
I'll second it.
Brandon Fournier. Sorry.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Seconds.
Thought you were done.
Oh, no, never. You know me, I like to talk.
Chair votes aye. Thank you.
Aye.
You gotta vote.
Okay, so if we can do a.
Do a recall
vote.
vote. Recall. We gotta give your name, and how do you vote?
I'm Glenn LaRochelle, and I vote aye.
Tina Santos, and I vote aye.
I'm Lionel Cloutier, Vice Chair. I vote aye.
It's unanimous. Thank you very much for coming, and we look forward to hopefully having you up here with us.
Thank you.
Any questions, don't be afraid to ask.
You know, Keith never told me, didn't it? Like, what did you?
Are we all set?
Motion to adjourn.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn
I'll second it.
at 7:26.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. We stand adjourned.